The Unseen Tide: How to Decode and Defeat AI Slop. The Hidden Wave: Understanding and Tackling the Problem of AI Slop. July 22, 2025, 6:27 a.m. Israel Daylight Time. AI-generated content often promises efficiency and innovation, but what happens when it delivers meaningless, bloated, or even misleading text? This phenomenon, known informally as AI slop, is an invisible yet widespread issue undermining the quality of automated writing. But here's where it gets controversial: is AI slop simply a technical hiccup, or a deeper symptom of structural flaws in how AI language models operate? Martin Keene, a master inventor at IBM, took a deep dive into this urgent topic, unpacking what defines AI slop, why it happens, and what both users and developers can do to fight back. To start, AI slop shows up mainly in two ways: awkward phrasing and poor content quality. The first includes overblown expressions like "it is important to note that," which add padding without value, or clunky repetitive constructions such as "not only, but also." Sometimes, strange formatting choices, say, M-dashes squeezed together without spaces, make the text visually and mentally exhausting. These quirks don't just irritate readers, they reveal a lack of natural flow that often defines AI-produced prose. But the problem goes deeper. AI slop also refers to bland verbosity and the risk of misinformation. Large language models, LLMs, by design, tend to produce more words than necessary, filling in paragraphs with fluff instead of meaningful insight. More worryingly, these models sometimes hallucinate, that is, they generate convincing but false statements that are entirely fabricated. This trait means AI slop is not just tedious but potentially harmful, especially when these inaccuracies are churned out en masse by automated content mills, drowning the internet in repetitive, unoriginal, and unreliable material. The root of all these issues lies in how LLMs are built and trained. Essentially, these models rely on transformer neural networks that predict the next word or token in a sentence, generating output token by token. This prediction strategy is output-driven, not designed with an understanding of meaningful goals, causing models to favor statistically likely sequences over concise or factually accurate content. Training data biases also aggravate the problem. If the enormous text databases include lots of repetitive or low-quality writing, the model learns to replicate these flaws. And here's a controversial point: the incentive mechanisms used, often involving reinforcement learning from human feedback, RLHF, sometimes cause model collapse. This is when the system narrows its responses toward a uniform, high-scoring style that may lack creativity and depth. So, how can we reduce AI slop? The answer requires effort from both users and developers. Users can vastly improve output quality by crafting detailed prompts, specifying tone, target audience, and precise requirements. Giving the AI examples of the style or structure you want makes a big difference, since these models excel at pattern recognition. It's also essential to approach the interaction as a dialogue, refining responses through follow-up queries rather than accepting the initial output without question. From the development side, better curation of training datasets is critical. Keene emphasizes that including piles of low-quality materials like bland SEO content in training sets leads directly to poor results. Filtering out these sources before training or fine-tuning can dramatically improve the model's language use. Beyond data, reward models must evolve past simple helpfulness scores to balance factors such as brevity, factual correctness, and originality. Perhaps most promising, integrating retrieval-based techniques like retrieval-augmented generation, RAG, which enable models to access real, verified documents during generation. This approach directly targets hallucinations by grounding AI output in reliable sources. But here's the part most people miss: even with improvements, is it truly possible to eradicate AI slop entirely? Or will accepting some level of imperfection be part of our new normal with AI writing tools? What trade-offs are we willing to make between creativity, accuracy, and efficiency? We invite you to share your thoughts. Do you believe current AI models can overcome these challenges, or is AI slop an inherent flaw we need to live with? Join the conversation and let us know your perspective. AI slop could cure internet addiction? Here's how. The Internet's New Era, a tale of AI and human connection. Imagine a world where the digital realm no longer feels like a lifeline but rather a fleeting distraction. This isn't just a future vision, it's a reality we're already navigating. As AI continues to evolve, it's reshaping how we interact, learn, and even feel connected. But at what cost? The answer lies in the delicate balance between convenience and authenticity. Let's start with a bold statement: the internet is undergoing a seismic shift. Once a space for exploration and connection, it's now a battleground of algorithms, hallucinations, and the ever-present threat of AI-generated content. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information, you're not alone. In fact, many of us are now caught in a paradox, relying on AI for answers while questioning its reliability. This is where the conflict begins, and it's a conversation that everyone must engage with. The problem isn't just the technology, it's the culture we've built around it. When we scroll through social media, order groceries online, or even chat with a virtual assistant, we're participating in a system that prioritizes speed over depth. The result? A digital landscape that feels increasingly shallow, filled with distractions and curated illusions. But here's where it gets controversial: AI isn't inherently bad. It's a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how we use it. Yet, the line between helpful and harmful is blurring, especially when AI starts mimicking human behavior so convincingly that we forget it's not real. Take YouTube, for example. Once a hub for real-world expertise, it's now a breeding ground for AI-generated content. Channels once known for their practical knowledge are now producing videos that look like they were created by a machine. Even Reddit, the platform for community discussions, is flooded with AI posts that mimic human voices and emotions. The irony is that these AI-generated interactions are often more engaging than the real ones, yet they lack the nuance and unpredictability that make human connections meaningful. And this is the part most people miss: the subtle differences between a real conversation and an AI-driven exchange. But the real battle isn't just about content, it's about trust. LLMs, large language models, are still prone to errors, and their outputs can be misleading. When we rely on them for advice, we risk falling into a cycle of misinformation. The challenge is not just to recognize these flaws but to redefine what it means to be informed in the digital age. This is where the conversation becomes urgent: how do we balance the convenience of AI with the need for critical thinking? And who will hold the responsibility when the line between real and artificial becomes indistinguishable? For many, the answer lies in stepping away from the digital detox. While the allure of constant connectivity is hard to resist, the consequences of over-reliance are becoming increasingly clear. Studies show that prolonged screen time can lead to anxiety, isolation, and a diminished ability to engage in face-to-face interactions. Yet, there's a counterpoint: AI could be the key to a healthier relationship with technology. If we can teach machines to understand human emotions and provide empathy, they might become invaluable tools for mental health and social connection. But this is a double-edged sword. The same technology that helps us manage stress could also isolate us if we don't learn to differentiate between genuine human experiences and algorithmic fantasies. The future of the internet is uncertain, but one thing is clear: we're living in a time of unprecedented change. As AI continues to evolve, so too will our expectations and values. Will we embrace it as a companion or a crutch? Will we seek to reclaim our offline lives, or will we remain trapped in the illusion of endless connectivity? The answer may lie in our hands. But the question remains: can we build a world where technology serves us, not the other way around? In the end, the internet is more than just a collection of websites and apps, it's a reflection of our society's values and fears. As we navigate this new era, we must ask ourselves, what does it mean to be connected in a world where the lines between human and machine are constantly blurred? And if we choose to step back, will we find a renewed sense of purpose in the real world? Preserving the pre-AI internet, a digital archaeology debate. The internet's historical turning point: should we archive the last pure human data before AI contaminates everything? We are living through a digital watershed moment that future generations may look back on with fascination, the dividing line between purely human-created internet content and an online world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence. Since late 2022, when ChatGPT burst onto the scene, we've entered an era where digital content can no longer be automatically trusted as human-authored. This profound shift has sparked an urgent debate: should we prioritize preserving the last untouched human internet, or is it more valuable to document how AI itself is evolving? But here's where it gets interesting: experts are sharply divided on which approach matters more. Rajiv Pant, who served as chief technology officer for both media giants the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, raises alarming concerns about AI's threat to our historical record. "I've been thinking about this digital archaeology problem since ChatGPT launched, and it's becoming more urgent every month," Pant explains with growing anxiety. Right now, there's no reliable way to distinguish human-authored content from AI-generated material at scale. This isn't just an academic problem, it's affecting everything from journalism to legal discovery to scientific research. The implications are profound. Imagine future historians unable to determine which news articles, scientific papers, or legal documents were actually written by humans versus algorithms. A fascinating parallel emerges from John Graham Cumming at cybersecurity company Cloudflare, who compares pre-2022 internet content to something called low background steel. For those unfamiliar with this concept, low background steel refers to metal forged before the first nuclear bomb tests in July 1945. This pre-atomic age metal is extraordinarily valuable in sensitive scientific equipment because it lacks the faint radioactive contamination that all metal produced after nuclear testing contains. In essence, Graham Cumming suggests pre-AI internet content possesses a similar purity, untainted by algorithmic influence that now permeates nearly everything online. Taking action on this belief, Graham Cumming created lowbackgroundsteel.ai, a project dedicated to preserving uncontaminated data sources like a complete Wikipedia download from August 2022. This timing is particularly significant as research has already revealed Wikipedia's current state shows substantial AI contribution. "There's a point at which we did everything ourselves, and then at some point we started to get augmented significantly by these chat systems," he notes. So the idea was to say, you can see it as contamination, or you can see it as a sort of a vault. Humans, we got to here. And then after this point, we got extra help. And this is the part most people miss: the historical significance may lie not just in what humans created, but in tracking how AI itself evolves over time. Mark Graham, who directs the Wayback Machine at the Internet Archive, a project that has meticulously documented the public internet since 1996, challenges the effectiveness of new archiving initiatives. He points out the sheer scale of their current operation, storing up to 160 terabytes of new information daily, suggesting that newer preservation efforts may struggle to achieve meaningful impact at internet scale. Rather than focusing exclusively on preserving human-created content, Graham proposes a different approach entirely, systematically documenting AI outputs themselves. His innovative plan involves asking chatbots 1,000 topical questions daily and archiving their responses, creating a historical record of how AI systems evolve in their thinking and outputs. In a delicious irony, he intends to use AI to help perform this monumental task, essentially having AI document the evolution of AI for future human researchers. "You ask it a specific question and then you get an answer," Graham explains. "And then tomorrow you ask it the same question and you're probably going to get a slightly different answer." This approach recognizes that AI systems are constantly changing, with their outputs shifting based on updated training data, algorithmic adjustments, and evolving ethical guidelines imposed by their creators. Graham Cumming is careful to clarify he's not anti-technology. In fact, he argues that preserving human-created information actively benefits AI development. When low-quality AI-generated content gets recycled into training new AI models, a phenomenon known as model collapse, it can degrade the quality of future AI systems. Think of it like photocopying a photocopy repeatedly. Each generation loses clarity and detail. By maintaining archives of purely human-created content, we preserve the original signal that keeps AI learning from authentic human knowledge rather than from increasingly distorted AI approximations. At some point, one of these AIs is going to think of something we humans haven't thought of. It's going to prove a mathematical theorem, it's going to do something significantly new. And I'm not sure I'd call that contamination, says Graham Cumming, highlighting the potential for genuine AI innovation beyond mere imitation. This raises profound questions about our digital